This is episode 6 with Heather Eisenmayer. Welcome to the Reignite Podcast. My name is Todd Judkins, a former naval officer and corporate consultant turned life coach, and each week we'll bring you an inspirational person or message to help you discover how to reignite your life, get back in the game, and thrive in everything you do. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's light the fuse and reignite. Meditation, along with mindset and sleep, is one of the 3 pillars of leading a reignited lifestyle. It was, in fact, my discovery of the power of meditation that led me down this path of discovery. Well, today, Reignite Nation, we have a real treat in store for you. Heather Eisenmayer is a Certified Meditation Practitioner extraordinaire. Heather practices a meditation technique called sound meditation, and we'll spend all our time on today's episode discussing all things sound meditation. It's not a coincidence that I practice the same style of meditation for my reignited lifestyle. So in this episode, we're going to discuss the benefits of meditation, sound meditation, mantras, and so much more. So if you lead a busy lifestyle, you cannot afford not to have the power of meditation in your toolkit. Meditation is to the mind what exercise is to the body. In just a few minutes a day, you can harness this power of practice to improve all aspects of your life without becoming a yogi on some mountainside. So enough of my chit-chat. Let's get started talking about sound meditation with Heather Eisenmayer. Hello, Reignite Nation. We are here today with Heather Eisenmayer. She is a meditation practitioner extraordinaire. Hi, Heather. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Todd.
That's awesome.
How are you?
I'm doing awesome because I'm really excited today. I'm really excited to talk about meditation. You know, you're the first of my guests that I have on the Reignite podcast show. That we're going to dive deep into meditation. And as you know, meditation is one of the 3 core principles that we teach at Reignite. You know, we teach mindset, meditation, and sleep, And meditation, I consider the bedrock of all of that because for me personally, if it wasn't for meditation, none of the other things would have happened. I wouldn't have been able to focus on my mindset, and I wouldn't have been able to focus on my sleep. So I just got to know, take me back to when you first discovered meditation in your life. I heard from a little bird that it was a long time ago.
Yes. Well, not that long ago. It was in 2015, actually. And I had a really cool opportunity to take a step back in my life and really get in touch with myself and figure out what it was that I wanted to do. Because I had been searching for my purpose or my dharma, as they say in Sanskrit, for years. Basically, ever since I got out of high school, I was trying to figure out what it was that was my purpose. What was I meant to do as a job? I was in search of this purpose, and I just tried all these different jobs. I worked for only 2 companies in 33 years, but I tried a whole bunch of different roles, and they'd be good for a while, but they just didn't feel like they were my purpose in life. And I really, really believe that everybody has a purpose in life. We all have a reason for being here. I'm from Canada, and I married an American and moved down to Phoenix, Arizona. And I knew I wouldn't be able to work for 6 months. So I thought, okay, I'm going to really crack this and figure out what my dharma is. So looking outside. So I decided I needed to look inside. So that's when I got into meditation, to basically get in touch with my inner self, my soul, and figure out what my purpose was. And that was in 2015.
Okay, so in 2015, you had some time, you knew you wanted to contact your purpose, and you decided to go through meditation. Did you look at any other avenue to kind of find that inner peace and inner wisdom?
Yes, I did. I tried other avenues, but like I say, that was mostly looking outside, reading, doing like all the different tests you can do on yourself, Myers-Briggs and True Colors and all these different self-tests. And I took some online courses to try and help me narrow it down. And I just felt like I was spinning my wheels. And, I think I was moving a little bit further ahead, but I really just wasn't landing on anything.
Okay.
And I had dabbled a little bit with meditation. I've done some of those 21-day challenges that Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey offer. And I would do them. Sometimes I would finish them. Sometimes I wouldn't, but they didn't stick in my life as a practice. So I thought, okay, let's get serious about this. So yeah, I signed up for a course at the Chopra Center. It's called Primordial Sound Meditation.
So why didn't you think those earlier challenges stick with you?
I just didn't make it a priority in my life. I made it a priority for the 21 days, and then it just sort of fell by the wayside. And I find with anything, if you really want it to stick, you have to make it a priority.
Yeah, I think that's a key statement, and I'm glad you said that, because a lot of what I teach around mindset comes into play when you're talking about setting your priorities, making your priorities, what's important to you. And when you set that, you're able to achieve way greater than you would. So that's why I always bring in mindset as one of the core principles of what we do at Reignite. That's awesome, Heather. We'll get to the sound meditation, because that's actually the meditation that I practice too. So we're going to dive a little deeper into that. But I wanted to ask you, how do you use meditation in your life today? How do you practice it? What times do you practice it? And go into a little bit of how that's benefited you in getting clear and setting the direction in your life.
So I have a twice daily meditation practice. I meditate first thing in the morning. I try to do it right away before I get into activity, before I start looking at emails and Facebook and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, life, right?
Yes, exactly. Life that brings those stresses on and all that. So I try and set the day off on the right footing and start with the meditation. I meditate for 25 to 30 minutes typically, and then I meditate at the end of the day. So that's before dinner time, but sort of when you've finished up your activities for the day. And again, 25 to 30 minutes is what I shoot for. But having said that, any meditation time you do is better than none at all. So even if I only have 10 minutes, I will meditate for 10 minutes.
Yeah. I follow a very similar approach to that. I do meditate, and my goal is 15 to 20 minutes, because I do incorporate like gratitude and visualization at the end of my meditation, but it's usually about 15 to 20 minutes in the morning and 15 to 20 minutes, before my evening meal. But if I can only grab, if I can only grab 10, I grab 10. If I can only grab 5 of just calm inner retrospective, then that's what I grab. Actually, just before I had about 10 minutes where I was all ready to go before we had started our interview here, and I used that time to actually grab my evening meditation in there. So I'm right.
That's perfect. And I think having said that, it's a nice way to actually, like going forward when you're doing your podcast, it would be a good idea for you to do that sort of 5-10 minutes before you start your podcast and just get yourself centered.
Yeah, no, thank you for saying that, because this is a practice that I took from the corporate world, where, if I had, if I had a big meeting, I would make sure I'd have at least 30 minutes before that meeting, and I'd go find a quiet space and meditate in preparation for that meeting. So I think that's just kind of key in life, that you can use it to point like that. Well, that's awesome. So tell me, how does the practice change your life? How's meditation changed your life?
Well, it really helped me to figure out more about myself, get in touch with my inner self, with my soul, and figure out what what my purpose was. And so when I started that course, I believe it was about a 5-week course. By the 4th week, I could really see the benefits in myself. I was stressed better. I was calm, a little more creative and that kind of thing. And so I really could see how this could benefit others. And I thought, geez, this is something that I want to do for a living. I want to bring this into people's lives and help them experience the inner peace that it's bringing me. I know that in today's society, especially, people are so stressed out. There's just constant activity and constant dialogue coming at you, with your Facebook, your cell phones, all the devices. You're never far away from work. You have your cell phones and everything like that, and the news is negative. And stress doesn't even have to be negative. It can be around something positive. If you're getting married or buying a house or anything like that, planning a child's birthday party, like all those things bring on stressors to help people deal with their day-to-day stresses and that kind of thing. So it really did help me figure out what I was meant to do. And I really feel like this was my calling, or is my calling. So it helped me to figure that out. And when people take up meditation, they really shouldn't go into it looking for changes immediately, because what I notice most of all is that I really notice when I haven't meditated. So like if I'm on vacation or something like that, earlier this year, my husband and I were in England, in London, and we were just on the go, and I didn't have a chance to meditate. Plus we were usually staying in a 1-room place or something like that. So, and I just noticed as the days went on, I just a difference in the way I was feeling, the way I was handling. I felt more stressed out. Things were getting to me more. I just didn't feel that real inner calm peacefulness that I normally feel. So yeah, you really do notice it when you haven't done it for a while.
Yeah, I do notice it as well. I'm an early riser, and my wife she sleeps in a little bit. She's more of a night owl, so we have that time, and I take advantage of that time. So I kind of lucky there. I want to go back to a point you just mentioned, Heather. You mentioned that it's when you meditate, you handle stress better, and stress is the underlying cause of so many ailments that are impacting people in the world today. Could you expand upon that stress factor, and how you've noticed how it really allows you to just handle more stress?
Sure. You've heard of the fight or flight response before. You probably have. That's something that kicks in automatically in us, and we inherited that from our ancestors back in the day when they would be fearing for their lives, from dangers and things. So they really needed that. Today, we don't need it as much. We do at times, but it kicks in for us quite often. And that's when there is a perceived threat, or, it's our fight or flight response. So when that happens, there's a couple of hormones that are just generated into our bloodstream in our body, and that's cortisol and adrenaline. And so what happens is our heart rate goes up, we get tunnel vision, we start shaking, we start sweating, our pupils dilate, our blood pressure goes up, our face flushes. All these things happen to us immediately. And I mean, I even notice, sometimes just watching the news, this can happen. And so meditation is actually an antidote to stress, because when you meditate, your heart rate slows, your blood pressure goes down, you're just relaxed. It sort of undoes all of those things that stress brings upon. And like you said, stress is the cause of so many diseases, cancers, and all sorts of things. And there's a lot of research regarding meditation and the health benefits. It really does help with stress, which is, one of our major factors that make us ill today.
Absolutely. As a former naval officer, during my military career, I was in a few situations that, you could say death was imminent. And to have that fight or flight response in those moments is critical, because what your body's doing is it's really just shutting down everything that's not necessary for the reaction and the strength that you need to get out of that situation to survive. But when you're talking about chronic stress over a long period of time, your body is not designed to handle those levels of cortisol and adrenaline, the doses our body gets. I used to tell people that the human body is probably the best drug dealer around, because it can produce so many good, powerful hormones. I think, what you just said, and I hope everybody really, really heard what she was saying and what meditation does to you, because I'm kind of a geek in this area too. And Heather knows we share the same meditation practices, but it's the amygdala is your fight or flight response in your brain, and meditation actually shrinks that and increases your prefrontal cortex, which is your decision making, which is your ability to handle stress. And it really emphasizes that point and gets that stronger, while it takes the rest of the brain away from the center that's producing all the stress. So it's very, very important. I'm glad you brought that point up. That was spot on. And that's one of the biggest benefits of why I practice meditation, and why I encourage everybody to practice some form of meditation. All right. That's awesome, Heather.
Yeah.
That was really good stuff. That was very, very important. Right. So a lot of times when I talk to people seem to kind of get what meditation and what mindfulness is. They kind of interchange those at times, and are not exactly sure on what the difference is between those two states. Why don't you take us through that? We know what meditation is, but how is mindfulness different than that?
Well, to me, mindfulness is basically how you conduct yourself in your life and how you treat other people. It is a very broad term, and you do hear it a lot, but I think, it starts with yourself and treating yourself right. And so by having a practice of meditation, fueling your body properly with the right foods, getting exercise, and then how you view the outside world, showing compassion, love, patience, and understanding to other people, treating people well. And just really being true to yourself and not getting caught up in those thoughts in your head and believing that they're true. So basically to me, it's really just getting in touch with your true soul and acting from that place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always start by bringing love into the world, so there is, my first interaction with anybody is from a position of love and finding that peace in everything around me. Why I like to be in nature. And I know you as well like to be in nature and really connect there as well. That's awesome.
Big time.
And I hope everybody out there really can really get out and be in nature and understand the power that nature will provide to you in grounding yourself. And that mindfulness is a state, that can be incorporated with meditation. One of my favorite things to do is to, go hiking up in Sedona in the Red Rocks in Arizona and then, find a nice place to go meditate. It's one of my best.
Right.
That's a good day. That's a real good day.
Yes, okay. Absolutely.
So you mentioned earlier that you practice sound meditation. What is sound meditation?
So this type of meditation is Primordial Sound Meditation. And although it's been around for hundreds of thousands of years, it wasn't called that necessarily. So Deepak Chopra and Dr. David Simon, they had been practicing and teaching meditation for about 20 years when they decided to sort of repackage this Primordial Sound Meditation to teach it to both students and teachers. So what it is there's 108 seed sounds, and they emulate the cosmic sound or vibration that the universe was making at the time of your birth. It's based on the lunar cycle, the lunar calendar. In order to figure out what your primordial sound mantra would be, you'd have to supply your time and place of birth. And then we'd use this lunar calendar to decipher what your seed mantra sound is. So all the mantras start with Om, and then they have the seed sound in there. And so basically that just connects you back to when you came through the gap into this world, what the sound, the vibration the universe was making at that time. And we use the mantra as a vehicle of the mind. So basically to take us away from that level of activity into quieter levels. And because the mantra doesn't have any meaning, you don't associate meaning to it. So it doesn't cause you to think things, if mantra was where you'd be thinking about, what color of car you have, what kind of car you want, you need to get your brakes done or whatever. So it would keep you at the level of thought. So that's why we use the mantra in Sanskrit. This translates to vehicle of the mind.
Okay. Yeah. And then that's exactly how I meditate as well, use of the mantra. So tell me, if you were to start meditating, where would you start? Do you start with breathing, or do you just go right into your mantra and go right into a meditative state? How do you start your meditation?
For me, I do maybe a little bit of stretching, just some light stretching, and then some sort of deep centering breaths. There are different types of breathing exercises you can do as well, pranayama. So I do some of that, some deep breathing. And then I ask myself 4 soul questions as I'm going into meditation. And they are, who am I? And then I just sort of wait and see what comes up for me. What do I want? And then you just sort of rest with that and see what comes up in your mind at that time. What is my purpose? And then what am I grateful for? And then I will just kind of take another couple of cleansing breaths and then just start repeating my mantra. And when I notice that my mind has wandered away from my mantra, and it does, the goal is not, it's trying to quiet the mind, but people think, that if they do a meditation and they get caught up in thoughts that they've wasted their time. Meditation is never a waste of time. And everybody still has their mind wandering to thoughts. Doesn't matter how long you've been doing it for. You just gently bring yourself back to the mantra when you notice that your attention has drifted.
Yeah, I call that my monkey mind.
Yes.
And you're right. I've been meditating for years. And meditation's not about being perfect. So all you perfectionists out there, there's no such thing as perfect meditation. When you find your mind wandering, you bring yourself back to that mantra, and that's kind of your anchor point in everything you do.
Right. Yeah. Also, when you're releasing stress, you're going to have sensations that come up in your body. You might get flushed, or you might get itchy, or you might be uncomfortable, start sweating. There's all kinds of things that can come up for you. And that's generally the release of stress. Just know that that's okay and that's normal, and just continue on for whatever time you've set aside to meditate.
I think that's important, especially for what I call the newbies. People are just starting the meditation,
right.
Not realizing how much stress they may have pent up in their bodies. And once they kind of release it through meditation, in their first couple of meditation sessions, they're like, wait, that was really weird. I got a little emotional there. I didn't feel good, right? But it's, and thinking that something's not right, but it's actually, no, the meditation is working. You're actually releasing. So something that if anybody's just, considering starting meditation practices or just now getting into it, that's, if you feel that, that's what's going on. Keep doing it. It's, the benefits, it's lifelong. So, I know, Heather, you like to practice sunrise meditation. Tell me a little bit about the importance of that sunrise meditation.
Well, where that came from, when I was at the Chopra Center, they did some group meditations at sunrise, and I just thought it was such a beautiful way to start the day. And you're meditating, and as that sun comes up, you start to feel it on your face and the warmth, and it just such a beautiful thing. And with group meditations, that just compounds the vibration. They say when you meditate, the people around you benefit. Well, when you meditate as a group, that's, compounds, and it's said to bring a sense of peace to the surrounding area, the surrounding community that you're meditating in.
Yeah, that's pretty fascinating, because I've done some group meditations, and you can literally feel the energy level from all the people around and meditating. It's a special event.
Yes, it is. There's been a lot of research recently about the power of having people meditating together at the same time with the same intention. So I tried this the other day. There was a big online meditation, and there was people from all over the world, thousands of people, and everyone was meditating with the intention of reducing or raising the peace in the Middle East by 10%. That's pretty cool. So wow. There's been a lot of studies around that. So
it always brings me joy to know that, thinking about what if we can get everybody to be in a meditative state, everybody to finding their inner peace, and how the impacts, what impacts that would have on the world, with all the strife, with all the difference of opinion and the tribal nature of what's going on in the world today, and get everybody to recognize, hey, we're just one.
Right, exactly.
And that we're all in this together, which is just something that we try to do here at Reignite. It's really about thriving and making sure that, one person at a time, that we're bringing that joy to the world.
Right.
So I know, Heather, you have some future plans that you're going to be carrying this meditation practice forward. But I know a lot of people are going to want to get a hold of you, and they might have some questions and some follow-ups, and they might want to know where to contact you. So why don't you let everybody know how they can contact you?
I'm just in the process of getting my website set up, and that's hushthemind.com. It's just about there, but it's not quite up yet. Mm-hmm. So in the meantime, my email address is heafish, that's heafish @gmail.com.
Yeah, and everybody, we'll have all this information in the show notes, and we're going to have Heather back as a guest, because we're not near done talking about meditation. We have more to talk about. And then at that time, we'll have some more information as well.
Right.
So, Heather, I always end my show with asking one question. And that one question is if you only had one piece of advice to give to somebody to reignite their life through meditation, what would that be? That
would be to start a practice and keep that practice going every day, as much as you can. Like, make it a daily practice. I mean, life happens, and there's times where you can't, but you can meditate on airplanes or trains, or not while driving, but any time that you can safely close your eyes, sit comfortably with your eyes closed. The more I study and look into mindfulness and all those kinds of things, it all leads back to meditation, because that's really about getting in touch with your true self, your true nature, which is overshadowed by the 50 to 80,000 thoughts that we have every day. It's just that we're just shut out by all this noise in our heads. So it's the best thing you can do for yourself and for your family and the people around you and people at work and everybody. So that would be my advice, to start a practice and keep it going.
Wow, it's got that far. Did you hear that, everybody? And I'll add in with Heather a pro tip from an ex-road warrior here. If you're traveling on an airplane, I always meditated at takeoff and at landing. It's the best time I found to meditate on the plane. So Heather, I want to thank you for coming on the Reignite podcast. Like I said, this is the first of many discussions on meditation. We're going to have Heather back in the future and talk a little deeper. We'll be able to share some more information. So Heather, thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to coming back.
All right.
Namaste.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Reignite podcast. If this episode resonated with you in any way, please share it with a friend. One of the greatest experiences as human beings is being able to mastermind as a group, where we get together and collectively share and build off of each other's energy. Reigniting is no longer about accepting life as it comes, but designing the life you desire. We are committed to bringing you thought-leading and thought-provoking discussions to inform and motivate you in finding the joy in your journey, no matter what road you choose to take. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Todd Judkins, or send me an email at connect@toddjudkins.com. I'd love to hear about your struggles, your successes, and your thoughts. Thank you for listening, Reignite Nation. And always remember, the joy is not only in the destination, but what life has to offer in the journey. We'll be back with another full episode on Tuesday and with a short Reignite message on Friday just to jumpstart your weekend. Until then, keep that fuse lit and reignite.